House Democrats are still pushing to see the Ethics Committee's report on former Republican Congressman Matt Gaetz. Congressman Sean Casten of Illinois is forcing a floor vote later this week that would require the committee to share the report. The resolution is considered privileged, and so it must be brought to the 2 legislative days for that vote. Now, Casten introduced a similar resolution before Thanksgiving, but it expired over the holiday recess. The new version has been updated with examples of past instances when the Ethics Committee released reports after members left office. Gaetz, of course, withdrew his name from consideration for Attorney General about a week after he was tapped for that post by Trump. Gaetz faced opposition from a whole bunch of Republican senators, largely related to that ethics probe into allegations of sexual misconduct and illicit drug use. Gaetz denies he did anything improper or illegal. Joining us now, MSNBC contributor Mike Barnicle. Mike, we're always so fortunate when you get up early enough to join us. Yeah, we're aware of it, and then you remind us every time.
Yes.
So let's just talk about Matt Gaetz for a minute.
Why?
I mean, because it was in the script, Mike. No, because I think that there are some Democrats who feel like there are larger lessons to still learn from this. There should be accountability. The report should still see the light of day, even though Gaetz is no longer in Congress and no longer up for Attorney General. Why do you think it's important, or do you?
Well, I would submit that there are larger lessons for the Democrats to learn from. One of them is not Matt Gaetz. One of them is their own behavior politically and what they're doing to their party politically.
Then let's dive into that.
Well, I think they're slowly nibbling away at the foundations of their party by not recognizing or listening to what Americans are telling them about their lives. The Democrats, not all of them, but most of them appear not to hear the voices of people who actually go to work each and every day to make a living and struggle to make a living in this country surrounded with riches, surrounded with riches.
So these are economic concerns.
Yes.
Is this still like they didn't message inflation, or is there more to it?
I think there's more to it. I think there's a tendency to swerve toward issues that are important to a certain group of peoples in this country. There's no doubt about that. But ignoring the day-to-day travails of ordinary American families. I think it's been happening not just in the last 3 years, but for the last maybe decade.
So what would the prescription be?
The prescription would be to stop what you're doing running for re-election. Stop raising money and spend some time just driving around your congressional district or your state, pull the car over to the side of the road and talk to anybody who's on Main Street. Anybody. Not focus group stuff, just ordinary people. What's going on in your life? What concerns you? What could we do in Washington to help you with your daily struggles or your kids' daily struggles? How's your children's school teaching your kids? Are you happy with it? Are you happy with your life?
And do you think Donald Trump, a billionaire who lives in a castle by the sea in Florida, does he have a better handle on those everyday issues?
He doesn't have a better handle on those issues specifically. What he does have is a better handle on how to portray his interest in those issues. His interest is probably minimal, but he's a great actor.
Yeah, no doubt.
When are we going to talk about Juan Soto coming to the Red Sox?
We'll get to him in just a minute, but I want to ask you one more question first about, you talked a lot about this past campaign about the sense of sort of exhaustion and fatigue that the American people have since 2016, since the Trump experience really began. And he was able to overcome that and won a narrow win, but won all the same. What challenge does that pose for Democrats right now? Is a lot of people are sort of tuning out politics at the moment? Like, how much of a fight would you say they need to put up right now for Trump's, whether it's cabinet choices or his agenda, or is that just going to be perceived by the people as like, more of this?
I think, one of the issues that Democrats have to deal with is to look in the mirror and say repeatedly to themselves before they go to work in the morning in the House or the Senate, Donald Trump is the president of the United States. They have to accept that. They have to live with it. They're partially responsible for it or largely responsible for it. Accept the reality of the second Trump administration and learn how to deal with it on a daily basis.
So let's pull back the curtain here and reveal to viewers that you agreed to be on this morning because of, a generous cash stipend, but also because you did want to talk about Juan Soto for a minute. So we mentioned earlier in the show, Scott Boras' agent suggested a decision coming later this week. What do you think?
Oh, I'm with you on this. I believe I'm with you on this. I think there are there's a few teams who are really in it. The Yankees are in it, the Red Sox are in it. But I think at the end of the day, no matter what the number is on the table, no matter what John Henry or Hal Steinbrenner puts on the table for Juan Soto, I think Steve Cohen of the New York Mets slides a blank piece of paper, a contract across the table, and says, just fill in the number. I think he really believes he needs Juan Soto to dominate New York.
Yeah, I sense that he won't be outbid, and to steal him from his crosstown rival, what a statement that would be.
Perfect.
All right,
it's like me stealing from you.
I know. Well, you're going to take over this show soon enough, Mike. Yeah. MSNBC contributor Mike Barnicle, thank you, and hopefully we will see a Juan Soto decision before too long.